Hello everybody and welcome to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about MMOs again. I'm going to be talking about pricing models. It's kind of important because it's basically how you gain access to the game. A lot of people decide on which MMO to play based on their pricing models. I've compiled my list of 3 different pricing models that are most common that I see when looking at different MMOs. Stick around to the end of this video to see what I think is the superior pricing model. I am fully prepared for the comments as I know that my last MMO video was highly controversial and I think this one might be as well. The first pricing model I want to talk about is free to play.
No. Wait.
Free to play games include Throne and Liberty and Guild Wars 2 for examples. I don't hate the free to play model. The free to play model is great because it has very little barrier to entry, so it welcomes a lot of newcomers to play the game, which is very important for MMOs to have a healthy population. On the flip side of that, free-to-play MMOs typically have a very aggressive marketing strategy. So around every corner, you're going to see an ad for one thing, a currency to help you progress in the game, possibly via a pay-to-win model, or to get cosmetics, or to solve problems that are intentionally put in front of you, like limited inventory space. And sometimes it can even include things like gambling crates.
Oh my God!
At the end of the day, the free-to-play model is fine because it lets people play the game for free, and these companies do need to make money somehow to keep the servers up and running, especially for games that are live service, that are constantly getting updated. That's just constant developer time, and it makes sense why they would cost money. The next model I want to talk about is the buy-to-play model.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Some examples of games that use the buy-to-play model are Elder Scrolls Online, Black Desert Online, and New World. The pros for this model include having a decent balance for the barrier to entry, as well as marketing within the game. So getting in isn't super expensive, it just costs a flat rate of whatever the game is and you don't have to worry about a subscription, but you will also typically see other things being advertised in game, but usually not quite as aggressive as you'll see in the free-to-play. But usually not quite as aggressive as you'll see in the free-to-play models. Another pro is, specifically I'm pulling this one from the Elder Scrolls Online, but it kind of lets you choose how you spend your money. So in Elder Scrolls, you can choose to spend like the microtransactions, you can choose to spend it on certain DLC, and it's not as linear as a game like World of Warcraft where you probably want the newest DLC. In World of Warcraft, you can't actually buy older DLCs, but in ESO, you can choose a DLC or a storyline and play it through, and buy it, play it, and you're good to go. That's it. Of course, ESO does still offer an optional subscription, and it is an inventory thing. It creates a problem and then sells the solution. So in this example, you get an additional bag to carry all of your resources and materials, whereas you don't get that when you don't subscribe. The last payment model, and my personal favorite, is the monthly subscription.
Leave me alone!
That might sound a little counterintuitive because who would want to pay monthly for a subscription to a game rather than just buying a game or playing one for free? And to that I would say, I hate microtransactions.
Oh, hell no!
I do not like to see them.
Oh, hell no!
I want them hidden from me as much as possible, and if I can pay outright up front to not have to deal with them in the game, I'll choose that for sure. Examples that use the monthly subscription model are World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV Online. World of Warcraft includes a free trial up to level 20, so you actually can play for a decent amount of time without paying anything at all. And same for Final Fantasy, they offer a free trial up to level 50. An additional pro to the subscription model is it adds an additional barrier to entry for botters and cheaters. In order to get to the late game of World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, not only do you need to subscribe, but you also need to pay for the most recent expansion as well. Pretty much all of these games double dip in one way or another. So the Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft double dip would be that they charge a subscription, but they also charge you for the expansions. And every expansion, they'll kind of treat as its own game and sell it to you, kind of like a buy-to-play model, but they'll also get you to subscribe. So it's expensive. Like I'm not denying that. It's definitely expensive, but I find with games that are more blatant about charging you money, there's less trickery and I guess hiding the cost under other things. One that really pissed me off was New World and how they handled transmog. In World of Warcraft, transmog is something you can just do. It costs in-game currency, but like barely any. But in New World, you need to buy these coins to transmog, and the coins cost another currency, and that currency is paid for. So it's just, there's a lot of confusion, I guess, with the currency, and I think that's on purpose. Like, they obfuscate your idea of money and they try to hide it, and I'm not a fan of that. Another example of this is Throne and Liberty. Throne and Liberty has a ton of different currencies, like a ton of them, and they gotta be trying to do it on purpose. They also have a bit of a pay-to-win problem, and some people mentioned it in my video that I had just made, my tier list, my MMO tier list. You can check that out. I'll put a link in the description. But basically, you can just buy items with the paid currency on the auction house. Like that's how their auction house works. You can only sell items for a paid currency that costs real money. That being said, you can still get those items as drops, and then you can sell them on the auction house, and you can get that paid currency, which I think is pretty cool. But at the end of the day, if someone can just swipe and get whatever item they want, that's a bit of a problem.
Get your money up, not your funny up.
On top of these pricing models, another concern for people who are looking to get into different MMOs is pay to win. Now, pay to win can be kind of tricky because a lot of games get labeled with pay to win, and I'm not sure they deserve it, and a lot don't and actually do deserve it. For example, Throne and Liberty gets labeled as pay to win, and to a certain extent it is, but I think people are turning a blind eye to other MMOs that may as well just be pay to win anyway. In my opinion, any MMO that has a real money trading issue is effectively pay to win, because you can buy the in-game currency like with real money and then use that in-game currency in-game to buy items. It may be one extra step away from Throne and Liberty, but it effectively has the same issue, and people who play MMOs could probably agree that they've seen this in every MMO that allows trading. The flip side of that, though, is that I like MMOs that allow trading. I think it's cool to be able to swap gear between characters and trade with friends, and I think old school RuneScape does it really well, where pretty much everything has value and can be exchanged. World of Warcraft has a limiter to this called items being soulbound. So it basically means if you've equipped an item and worn it and used it, you can't just trade it to someone else so they can go ahead and use it. Another thing that I don't see people talking enough about is the pay to win from a cosmetic sense. I've seen a lot of people prefer the model that is free to play and then just add cosmetics. And that's worked for games like Fortnite that aren't really an MMO. They're kind of just a shooting game that has skins. But for MMOs, a lot of people play MMOs to get good gear, and oftentimes they want to just make their character look cool. And that's kind of the angle that I go at these games from. I kind of just want to get cool gear and then flex my accomplishments to other players. The problem is people don't see having cool gear as winning. They see having gear that is powerful as winning because you could use it to beat up on other players, I guess, in PvP. But for someone who doesn't do PvP that often and mainly does PvE, someone being able to buy gear that looks cooler than mine kind of feels like they're paying to win in their own way. And it definitely has an effect on my experience, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of the free-to-play MMOs. But we're seeing this problem in all of these different payment models. They all have an issue with being able to just selling cosmetics. It's just a matter of the designs of the cosmetics for those who work for them and the designs of the ones that are sold in the shop. And a lot of people will hate on World of Warcraft for having a skin shop, but I think that's one of the least egregious examples of this. They've had the same cosmetics for the longest time in that shop, and they swap them out here and there, but the list is not nearly as extensive as the list you'll see in Elder Scrolls Online, Throne and Liberty, Guild Wars. Even Final Fantasy XIV Online, I believe, has a really long list of paid cosmetics. But the cool thing about Final Fantasy is that they have the entire shop outside of the game. So you actually have to log out before you can even see any of these microtransactions, and I think that's really cool. At the end of the day, this is just one factor to help you decide on what MMO that you think you're going to be playing next. Let me know what you guys think of each of these different pricing models. As you can tell, I have a bit of a soft spot for the monthly subscription. Even though it sucks to have to pay monthly, I find that I have a better experience with the game if I get the payment of the game time and everything out of the way first, and then I can just enjoy the game and forget about it. That being said, I've definitely forgot about it for a little too long and paid for subscriptions like months, maybe years after I've stopped playing the game. So that's definitely a downside, and it's certainly predatory in its own way, but I think you would be hard-pressed to find an MMO pricing model that isn't predatory. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. This is only my third YouTube video, and it's my second talking about MMOs. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts about these MMO videos. I love talking to you guys about different MMOs. It's an interest of mine, so obviously I enjoy the conversation. Peace! On top of these pricing